Welcome back to another coffee talk. Welcome to the Christmas coffee talk. I have been in like such a good mood all morning getting ready for this and thinking about the things I wanted to do over coffee today. I have been planning these or filming these kind of early. Wow, I feel like I'm out of breath. I was really trying to get a cool picture of my Christmassy coffee, and my peppermint wafers melted into my coffee. So that's going to be super interesting. Probably a sensory issue for me as I get to the bottom of that cup, but until then, I'm sure it'll be delicious. Wow, why are we starting this on a soggy note? Hello, it's Christmas. I need this in my soul. I feel like the Christmas spirit this year is really keeping me hanging on. There's so much that I feel like I'm carrying that's invisible, and that's just like all that's just context to say why Christmas has been such a joy for me this year. I mean, there's a reason why everybody gets warmer and merrier and lighter around the Christmas time and like looks out for miracles. Everybody deserves on some level their own version of a Christmas miracle. I know that energy is the equivalent. It's like the Christmas equivalent to the girl in Mean Girls, who I feel like sometimes I emulate her too much sometimes. I'm self-aware enough to feel like, or at least I would interpret it if I was viewing myself, someone being like, everybody deserves a Christmas miracle, gives the same energy as,
I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
I'm pretty sure I've said this before in a coffee talk, but color me a romantic, but I am not only on the watch for my own Christmas miracle this year, I am of the idea or notion or belief that everyone deserves a Christmas miracle. Small or big, your Christmas miracle could be finding a parking spot at the Christmas event that you're going to. Your Christmas miracle could be someone that you miss coming home and getting to see them for Christmas. Your Christmas miracle could be, someone got you a really thoughtful gift that you were really, really wanting. Your Christmas miracle could be really good health news about someone you love or yourself. Your Christmas miracle could be finding out you're pregnant. Your Christmas miracle could be finding love. Like, I just think everyone deserves to be gifted this year. We've all been through so much. We've all been carrying so much that's invisible. Like, that experience it's not unique. We all are carrying so much that no one else ever sees. And it's not a matter of like throwing it all out there and everybody just like displaying, I guess, the weight that they're carrying, while that obviously is always welcome, like always a safe space to say the stuff you need to say, or, if it's really like that heavy, therapy. I highly always recommend therapy. My therapist is where I like to go to do that. But in general, every single person it's that quote, every single person is fighting some kind of battle that you can't see. And so I know that everyone I'm coming across, including people I love and cherish deeply, are fighting battles that I'll never understand, even if I know of them, because I'm not the one experiencing them. So yeah, I guess my Christmas wish this year is that everybody gets some kind of happy miracle, some kind of joy, some kind of surprise that feels light and warm and joyous. Lord knows the world needs it. Sorry. Actually, another thing I did, I know what I used ChatGPT for this morning? I grew up Christian. So, and I went to a Catholic school. I was baptized. I did my confirmation in grade 8. This all has a meaning, by the way, why I'm explaining this. But I grew up Christian, so I feel like not only did a lot of the people in my family use terms of like surprise as "oh my God" or "oh my Lord" or "holy smokes," like Jesus Christ. That's one that I have a terrible habit of saying, and I know exactly who I got it from in my family. I won't expose them, but one of my family members always does the Jesus Christ, and I feel like I've picked that up when something like scares me or whatever. So yeah, I used ChatGPT this morning to give me options for things that I can start like consciously replacing that phrase with. Not that I think there's anything wrong with it. I know that there are people that are very devoted to their faith and their religion, and Christianity, Catholicism. It wasn't for me, but I respect it, and I respect anybody that like uses that as their tool for their spirit to shine in the world in a positive way, and in a way that is liberating. So they still have their freedom. But I just don't want to say, I don't know, I just don't want to say the Lord's name in vain anymore. I mean, maybe that's my own history coming to the surface. Like, I can remember being in grade 2. I was just explaining this to Ryan. Okay, so Ryan was not raised Catholic. He went to a public school. And I was explaining to him the other day what it was like to be like in grade 2 and to go to the school library and sit between bookcases and speak to oh gosh, I almost said a pastor. It's not a pastor. It's the guy that gets up at the middle, a priest. Christ. Sorry. Clearly I'm not doing a good job yet. And I haven't even told you what I'm drinking for coffee yet. So get it together, Kalyn. Anyway, I was just explaining to him how funny it was that back in the day, I would just go, like, you just go to the library as a little kid and you just sit with this, he is a priest, so I don't mean this disrespectfully, but like you just sit with an old man and tell him all of the bad things you've done, all your sins. And they would always be like, just say 3 Hail Marys or do the rosary 3 times or whatever. And you'd be like, okay. I remember one year that I did take that seriously, but for the most part, you would just be like, okay, and kind of go back on your jolly way. And Ryan thought that was so weird. He was like, what did you say? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I had a script. I think I said the same thing for like a long time. I would always just be like, I'm not very nice to my little brother. And sometimes I swear when my parents can't hear me. Anyway, full circle. I use ChatGPT to give me new phrases, new sayings that I feel like just suit me better. And I'm going with, oh my stars and oh my word. Those are going to be my new oh my gods, okay? And I don't know what I'm replacing the Jesus Christ with. Like, it needs to be like a person. You know what? For the Christmas season, I'm just going to say Santa Claus. No, that doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same. If you have any recommendations, let me know. But instead of oh my God, I'm going to start saying oh my word and oh my stars. I made a peppermint coffee this morning with some vanilla creamer in my Santa mug for our Christmas hangout, our Christmas coffee talk. I might have to remake this. There's literal soggy wafer. No, I can't. I'm still going to use a wafer because it's delicious. I just left it in there for way too long. That was one of those like Instagram versus reality moments, because the time it took to try and just take a picture for social media of that cute coffee made it disgusting. But I did remake it. I have no idea how possible it is, but I need to figure out how to make these wafer things at home because they're technically not vegan. Not that I am 100% vegan, but I am mostly plant-based, and I like for the rest of this year, I've definitely kind of given that up. I'm going to renew my plant-based resolution in the new year, and you can disagree with that if you want. I feel like even just admitting that publicly, I'm sure there's going to be some judgment from people that that are very devoted to their veganism. And I honor that. Like, I truly do honor that. I honor the reasons, the values behind choosing vegan. I really do. Yeah, that's not the talk we're going to have today. Maybe it's a talk I'll save for like January, February, because I feel like that is like a deep talk. And I've kind of hosted it before, but like why I call myself plant-based and such. But these little dessert wafers, I'm pretty sure they have some modified milk ingredients in them, but it's not that this is really challenging me. It's not that I don't care. I care. I'm just I guess I'm tapped out, man. I'm giving up. I'm sorry. I'm giving in, maybe is the better word. Until the new year, I'm going to have a couple Christmassy desserts, okay? And like stuff that I don't have time to make vegan or find vegan. And this is one of them. These rolled wafers as little coffee stirrers are so good. They're so good. We got peppermint ones and hazelnut ones. I need to figure out how to make these at home. Let me know what you're drinking down below. Today, I am going to finally paint my nails for the first time since having Landon. Made it 3 months. And while I was really looking forward to growing my nails out again, I saw a girl with red nails and I really liked it. It's Christmas, so I'm feeling inspired to, I don't know, paint my nails and just lean into all of the Christmassy stuff, because a Christmas miracle I was hoping was going to happen was somehow going to Era's. It's tomorrow. I'm not going. And I still stand by everything I said about like coming back around as a Swiftie. I think it's gonna cause me a little bit of distance from Swiftie music again for like a couple more weeks, and then I'll be back around again. Because it just feels so disappointing. But I was hoping for the Christmas miracle of ending up going to Era's tomorrow with my sister. Like, we've been holding out, but The thing is that I feel like technically we still could go. It's just one, we would have to spend a lot of money, and two, I would have to do extreme things. I would stress so much. I was just going to separate the two to make it easier. Ryan could stay with Easton. I could drop Landon off to my dad and my stepmom, making me closer by because they would be on the way. Anyway, you don't need to hear the whole story. It's just that like we wouldn't be able to stay the night. We would have to drive right back and then pick him back up and then drive back to Ottawa through the night, so we wouldn't get home till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And then we're both alone with our kids the next day. And we were gonna like combine forces, but it's just too much. It is way too extreme. It's gonna cost so much money. It feels way too much. Anyway, I'm not going. And I thought that was gonna be my Christmas miracle. It's not. So I'll still be on the lookout for my Christmas miracle. I'm still open to seeing it manifest somewhere. But today I'm going to paint my nails, and then I'm also going to start a new project. So I've been having a lot of fun with ideas that have been coming to me for the new year. This time of year is so nice for that, where the new year hasn't started yet, so none of us have to start anything yet, which I think opens up an area of imagination where ideas can come to you and they can sit with you for a little while. They can sit with you for the next, by the time you see this, it's going to be like late December, but they can sit with you for another week and a half, even into the new year. That's the other nice thing about really leaning into the seasonality. And if we are to live more by the seasons, then winter really isn't even a time to start projects. Although I can say that everything has multiple perspectives. So from one sense, when we are in our soul winter, or maybe a better way to put it would be our body's winter, like we ourselves go into a state of hibernation, it's a perfect time to rest the body, to recharge your energy from last year before going into the spring of a whole new year. However, in that state of hibernation, like sometimes hibernation is where some of the most beautiful work is done, right? Like whether it's writing a book, or for me, it's so weird. I don't know what it is. It's very counterintuitive, but I actually tend to get really sweaty in the winter, and I like to work out a lot in the wintertime, and I work out from home, and it feels like part of my hibernation. Like it feels like I've encaved myself into my cozy home where I'm eating really warm, nourishing foods, and I'm sweating, and I'm reading books, and I'm, just kind of spending a lot of time with myself. And that's the kind of winter energy that I feel like I thrive on, but everybody's winter hibernation is going to be different. For some, it really is taking a physical break or spiritual break, a mental break, whatever. But right now I feel like is a very fertile time for ideas to download and ideas to sit with you and kind of come back to you. And for the next few days or even the next few weeks to really write those ideas down and get curious about them and have fun with them. And so, yeah, I've had some ideas come to me for coffee talks that I'm really excited about. One that I'm saving next week for the New Year's talk, because it's going to kick off a little mini thing that we'll do, a ritual that we'll do in the coffee talks. But one that I want to do today, I'm making peace. Okay. I'm making peace with my son growing out of his newborn clothes and even starting to grow out of his he has grown out of 0 to 3 months now too. So at first, that was making me very sad. I'm like, at this point now, I'm 95% sure. Like I was 80% sure after Landon was born that I was done, that was that. But I left this 20% window open because it was a really hard pill for me to swallow. It was a really hard thing for me to accept that journey of my life, that phase of my life was over, of like pregnancy and the newborn stage. And so I just needed to let myself keep that door open, even though my heart needed that, even though logically my mind already knew. And so I think my heart's starting to get on board. My heart is starting to feel so fulfilled by both of them that I'm trying to find positive ways to shift the things that still make me feel weighted and heavy and sad. Like I am so lucky to have 2 boys to love and have 2 children to raise and shepherd into the world. And so instead of getting sad when they grow out of something, like I want to be excited that they're growing older. I want to be excited that they're thriving in a way, or reaching a new milestone, whatever it is, that they're writing new chapters of their own lives, even if they're really, really young chapters. And so the way that I'm doing that is I've kind of combined 2 things. One is this reoccurring romanticized idea of getting back into sewing again. I used to sew when I was little. I haven't really done it since. So, but I think I found Ryan's mom's sewing basket in our closet, like in our deep utility closet. It's either hers or I don't know why. Like, this is definitely his. He had this, he brought it here, and it's a sewing kit. So a bunch of sewing stuff inside, sewing materials. So if it's not his, it's definitely someone in his family's. I assume it's his mom's, and I'm going to use it to sew 2 blankets out of all of the onesies that my kids have officially grown out of, all of the clothes. So there's a lot of onesies that both of them have worn. So those ones I want to cut 2 squares out of for each blanket. But then there's some of them that they each have that are just their own. There's some that Easton wore that Landon never got around to wearing. And there's some that Landon was gifted or had that obviously Easton never wore. So over the next year, starting this Christmas, I think they might be too young to get it next Christmas, but then also, like, how can a kid be too young to receive a blanket? I just have to make sure I sew it really well. I would like to invite anybody to, you could do anything. You don't have to sew a blanket. Maybe you like to knit or crochet, but I don't have aunts, grandmas, like women to sit in a circle with and sew blankets with. And I wish I did. There's a part of me that also wishes for that and maybe perhaps romanticizes it. But I do feel like whether it be that kind of, and again, I know that like history is so rose colored when we look at it through the lens of the present, right? There was obviously lots of bad things during the times where women were able to be a community, to sit together in circle and learn skills together and, you know, just like, I don't know, exist together. And I feel like that's so much more rare now, or at least it's very rare in my life. Like I have a couple really, really good close girlfriends and my sister's like my best friend, but it's not like we often get to sit in a circle and like do things together. So anyway, I'm just going to open up this space while I while I sew my boys a blanket, that if you want to learn to sew, or if you want to learn to do a craft or a skill, and imagine that we're all just like sitting together, having a drink and doing a hobby, then we can do that. And I'm going to do episodes over the next year with the blanket and work on the blanket in live time. So yeah, wow, I'm so sorry. That's 26 minutes into our coffee talk, and I've basically just explained what the coffee talk is, but I feel like we've had some discussion points already. I can't get this microphone in the right spot. My brain just feels so like, I just get so excited about Christmas. Like I'm giddy, I'm happy, I'm excited. I need this. Full circle, I need this. The other day, I just really needed a moment. Actually, I've been needing them a lot lately of just, I don't know, it's very much a heart thing. Like it kind of comes back to the just feeling so much weight lately. And it's part of it is existential. Like I don't always host the conversation because I fear that I'll say the wrong thing, or I'll bring attention to the wrong things, or that I'll mess it up somehow. But I definitely feel the existential weight of the shifts and changes going on the planet. And it's not even just like, I guess that's the part that I'm afraid I'll mess up, is that if I get into the details of it, to me, it's not so much about the details, but more the energetic effect of the details, right? Like I sense when I just feel like I can sense the world like grieving. I can sense the world and the hatred that strangers are treating each other with. Like, again, it comes back to the Mean Girls. Like, I wish we could all just like be together and have fun, but like, I don't know, I'm a sensitive person, and I hate abrupt, and hate is a strong word, and I'm using it correctly here. Like I genuinely hate seeing hate. I hate seeing what I would just call like dark energy exchange and start to feel like it's more prevalent. Is that the right word? Prevalent, present, that it's more, that you just like notice it more. I feel it more. I see it online more, and it's not the only thing to exist. Like two truths can be true. There is a lot of that, but I think for the extreme darkness that is happening, or that we can witness or hold space for, or just kind of see it for what it is and not turn our blinders to it. Whether it be things like wars, or like just what feels like evil powers, the people with a lot of power that are evil, or maybe, I don't think anyone's inherently evil, but people with a lot of power that are corrupt by the ego, maybe is the best way to put it. And that doesn't, like, I already feel like I could imagine trying to weed apart exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't think it's actually one thing. I think you can see it. You can see the pattern of it in almost anything or everything. I can even see the pattern of it within myself. And like, this also, I do feel like this kind of comes back around to the being raised Catholic or Christian thing, because I can understand, like, I get comments sometimes, and again, like this has also been a new pattern that I've noticed is more common, because it always has happened, but it's always been like rare. And lately I've noticed, and I say this respectfully, but lately I have noticed a lot more like religious comments being posted on YouTube, including on my own content. And it's like, you know, devote or surrender to Jesus and surrender to God, or like, he won't save your soul because the end of times are coming, like those kind of comments. And again, let's save it for January. Like, I can definitely host the existential type of talk, because I definitely think about it often. I also do. It's not that I enjoy talking about it. I just don't think it does. I'm not afraid to go there in conversations. And I love people that are also not afraid to go there in conversations. I love when people are willing to go to the existential, or the like, the other side of me is like, let's talk about aliens, and let's just go there. Who cares if we've got it wrong? Like, it's fun to just walk down these big giant holes of what if, and you know, let minds collide and see things from new perspectives. But it's definitely, again, not Christmassy. We're not having that chat today. We don't need to go existential today, but that's just to say that, what was I fucking trying to say? Why did we go down, how did we get to existential? Wow, my brain just noped. That's a postpartum Swiss cheese hole that I just lost myself in. I don't remember how we got to talking about the comments being more existential lately, or where I was even going with it, but we can have that talk in the new year. God, it really is gone. Where's the thread? Where was that thread? She gone. Anyway, this is really gonna bug me because I don't know where to go from here. I don't know. Maybe this just kind of circles back to the, like, I think the world needs a miracle, and everybody, like, individually could use a little miracle and a little warmth and a little, like, I don't know, kindness, a little, like, God, can we just, like, thaw out a little bit? The world has felt a bit more cold, and I feel it, and I don't always know how to talk about it, but I definitely, I'm gonna try. My voice just broke again. I am gonna try to have those kinds of conversations more. I just don't think today's the day. I think the reason why Christmas has been such a welcomed thing for me this year is because it has felt like something warm and something hopeful in I don't know, the world's just feeling like each year it just feels like it gets heavier and heavier. And I feel like that can be picked apart by certain philosophers. And I only say that because there's books that I've read by philosophers that I can, as soon as I say, like, the world's been feeling heavier, all I can think about is The Courage to be Disliked, where it's like, if you agree that the world is heavier, then your brain is going to start looking for examples of it. But then at the same time, it's like, there's always nuance to these things, because at the same time, it is objectively true that things are happening that are very dark and very heavy and really heartbreaking. Gosh, do we need the needs wheel? I think I need the needs wheel, because there's something going on with my heart today where I feel like Christmas is kind of that. It is fulfilling the warmth of my heart at a time that I feel like my heart is heavy. It's heavy. It's feeling a lot of things. Have we done love? I'm looking at the needs wheel and I'm trying to figure out, based on what I'm feeling, especially around Christmas time, I do think it's love. It is love. So in order to fulfill the need of love, let's look at this globally and individually. We'll do both, okay? So in order to fulfill the need for love, there are two ingredients, and they are connection and empathy. Empathy is fed by understanding and compassion. So right there, I could already pick apart the ways that I feel like, well, one, Christmas does elicit a feeling of empathy, because I feel like people are naturally more compassionate around Christmas time. And because of that compassion, our brains open, like, truly, it's like our nervous system relaxes enough, our state of threat relaxes enough to open our minds to understand, even if we ourselves are not experiencing something, to be a bit more understanding, which is empathetic and is showing love to somebody by trying to stand in their shoes and see the world through their eyes, or see their life experience through their bones, through their spirit, through their soul. And to have understanding, you have to have patience and presence, which is so interesting, because I feel like I would have thought to have understanding without looking at the next on the wheel, the next tier on the wheel, I would have thought like open-mindedness. But I guess that open-mindedness is really having a sense of patience with somebody. So instead of feeling like you immediately need them to see the world through your eyes, it's so mutual. Presence is just being with somebody without needing to change them. And that comes from patience. So patience and presence is what creates understanding, which feeds empathy and love. The other one was compassion. And to have compassion, you need kindness and consideration. And this is, to me, I think, where the Christmas spirit has been so healing at this time and just so welcomed at this time, because people are naturally kind. People are more naturally compassionate. People are more naturally open-minded around Christmas. It just has that embedded into, like, the energy of Christmas is all about giving and empathy and kindness and showing love to a stranger, which again, I feel like the world needs more than ever. And having consideration for somebody. Oh, that's such a good one. Consideration is such a good one, because I feel like, and again, I truly don't think that naturally anybody is evil. Okay. I think that collectively, when we even talk about, I need to not go too far down this wormhole, okay? But maybe I just should. But when you think about consideration, I think that has been a main ingredient that has really been missing. And definitely, I think it's easier to take that kind of mutual respect for consideration out of the equation when interacting online. And online, digitally, right here where we're holding space for this conversation right now. Like, I'm filming this weeks in advance, and by the time it's hitting your ears or holding your energy, it's a different time. So this is happening very virtually. It's not happening in real present time. So we have created another dimension with social media. We've created another dimension with technology, which is so cool. Like, honestly, that is amazing that we as human beings have been able to do that. However, we also kind of jumped into it a little blindly. We were kind of like teenagers in love. But just to say that, like, it bounced out of nowhere, like basically from 50, 60 years ago to now. And then we're missing a lot of these more deeply needed things in this new dimension that we've created. And consideration is definitely one of them. And the fact that, interestingly enough, we are so lucky to be one of the last generations to know what it was like to live before this technology, before this dimension existed. Like, it existed, but it was so fresh and so new and so minuscule that it barely made a blip on our day-to-day experiences. Like, now we're literally raising children where they'll never know a life before this type of technology. They'll never know a life before AI. Like, the fact that I asked ChatGPT this morning what to say instead of, oh my God, like, that kind of technology is the shit that our kids are growing up with, or the next generation's growing up with. It's crazy. It's also the stuff that our generation in this demographic, in this age group, is suddenly embedding into our lives too. So it's just all to say that, like, consideration is so easy to be taken out of the equation when we are in this dimension, this virtual dimension. We stop considering because it's not happening in present time, because we're not actually looking at each other in the eyes, and sometimes we're not even seeing faces. We just see a username with a random photo or a letter and words. It's so easy to get lost in, like, being inconsiderate of how our words or our actions or even our creations might affect other people. I'll just leave that there, because I feel like we could go so much further with that. But there is another ingredient to love. That was all empathy. So to create compassion, you need consideration and kindness, and that creates that sense of compassion, which creates empathy, which feeds love. The next is connection. And so connection feeds love, and the energy that feeds into connection is relatedness and openness. So I guess here's where that open-mindedness is coming from, and, like, our ability to relate to one another. This is also super interesting, because this is kind of the other side of social media and in the virtual dimension, is that there is a lot of connection. There is a lot of relatedness. Like, there are pockets that you find yourself in where you relate to people. Like, if you're sitting here and you're listening to me today, like, I imagine that you come to my coffee talk because you relate to me in some way, or you feel open in this space. You feel welcomed in this space, or you can, I imagine it would only be because you relate to at least one thing I've said at some point that was like a strong enough relation that you're like, I like this girl, I'm gonna hang out, which, thank you very much, by the way. But that is kind of the more positive side of social media, the more positive, where we do, or maybe supplement love. Ooh, that's an interesting thought, that we supplement love. I don't think we supplement it. I think we just create more of it. We create a new source of it, is a better way to put it, through this virtual dimension. I don't know why this is only being related to social media now, but it's just to say that, like, also, I'm going to also say that relatedness and openness in relationships, like being able to not just be related to somebody, obviously by blood and family, obviously is a huge part of Christmas, but also to relate to just strangers, to realize that it doesn't matter how many layers you have to peel back, at some point we all relate on the level of being human. And even you can go further than that. Like you can go all of the way down to, I can relate to trees in the sense of, if the world ends, trees don't exist, I don't exist. Like we are earthlings. We belong to the earth. A tree belongs to the earth. A tree is an earthling. I'm an earthling. All living creatures that exist on planet Earth can be related. All living things, even all material things, we all belong to the earth. And if the earth ceases to exist, we cease to exist. So that's a way to relate. Like, again, I think we've lost some of that, especially on a human playing field, where we start to divide ourselves way up here at the top on the surface level shit. And we stop relating on the deeper core of like, we're all souls existing in this body, or just whatever, even if you don't believe that we're all earthlings, that we all belong to the earth. And that's something that we can relate over, and that can open ourselves up to showing more compassion to one another. Openness is fed by tolerance and acceptance. So you have to have a level of acceptance, which I think comes from like accepting things as they are for what they are and not the way you think they should be. And tolerance, which again, tolerating your differences to one another, which creates that openness and connection, which feeds into love. So that could be used very, like acceptance and tolerance, especially when we think about love and more difficult relationships, people that you might be related to, people you might have to work with that you don't necessarily jive. If your energy does not gel well, then it comes down to things like tolerance and acceptance that creates love in those types of relationships, and online too. And then to feed into relatedness, we need sincerity and receptivity. That's so interesting. Okay, sincerity and receptivity create relatedness. So receptivity makes sense, like to be able to open our receptors and come up with, like when I think of receptors, I imagine, what's that movie? They're all blue. Avatar. Yes. And Avatar, how their tails connect. It's almost like having receptiveness. To me, I think of receptors, like we open up new receptors and find new ways to connect that might not be the ones that we're normally used to. Like we might relate to people very easily over our jobs or our demographic or our, like where you live, because you live in the same vicinity as somebody, whatever, but you create new receptors when you go down to the level of like, we relate on the fact that we're all part of the earth. Like that creates that receptiveness, which creates relatedness. And sincerity is just, it's vulnerability in a different package. Vulnerability and sincerity are kind of like sisters in the sense of, to be sincere, you have to be vulnerable. And I think that might be very well why sincerity can sometimes seem missing or hard to come by, especially again online, because again, to be sincere means you have to be the truest version of yourself, and to be the truest version of yourself in a reality or a dimension where people can be super, super harsh and cutthroat so easily and so like humanless, it lacks that empathy. It lacks that connection. By someone's not even being cutthroat to your face. They're doing it like virtually. So it's a lot easier to do. And it's a lot easier for you to like come back to, because you can read mean words millions of times. Sincerity is related to vulnerability in the sense of, to be sincere means to be true. And to be true is to be vulnerable, because people will attack you for your truth. And they attack you for your truth. We attack one another for our truths because it challenges our own truth. And our own truth is only created by our own human experience. Our own truth is only created by the existence we've had up until this time, the experiences, and what those experiences downloaded in us as knowledge. And we box ourselves into believing that, because I had this experience and that experience created this either mental state or knowledge or understanding. If someone else hasn't come to the same understanding or hasn't lived the same experience, then I'm going to attack you, because that means your experience or your point of view doesn't affirm my own. And two, I'm going to create a divide where you're now other, and other creates division. And when you have too much otherness, when you have too much division, we lack love. There we go. Thanks for hanging out with the news wheel. So I'm going to do my blanket almost like patchwork, obviously. Shirts like this was only Landon's shirts. That's okay. I need to find one like this where both Landon and Easton wore it, and I need to somehow be able to get 2 squares out of that, and I need these squares to be uniform from each of these. So the nice thing about starting with the newborn clothes is that these are the smallest of the clothes, so as long as I can figure out how to get 2 squares out of the smallest pieces, those will be the measurements for the rest of my blanket. Another thing I've been reading lately is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman, who wrote Practical Magic. It's part of the Practical Magic series, which officially is my favorite book, like favorite fiction, Practical Magic. That's not to say it's flawless. It's just to say that it's my favorite. Like I Practical Magic is officially my favorite fiction book I've ever read. And I, for Christmas, got myself a like special edition one. So, because it's my favorite book, I was like, I'm going to get myself a nice, beautiful version of Practical Magic to keep in my library and read for many, many years. And I'm reading the other books in the series now because from reading Practical Magic, I found out that there are other books in the series. Magic Lessons is considered to be the first one. So it's about Maria, who is like the original Owens bloodline witch, and from the 1960s, or sorry, not the 1960s, the 1600s. And something I remember hearing it in the Practical Magic book itself, but now it was just reiterated in the chapter I was reading yesterday, is that something she does when sailors come to her is she will sew their wounds with blue thread. And in Practical Magic, it also was spoken about like when you wear blue for protection. And it's interesting because like, this might sound weird, but both of my kids have a color to them. Like Easton is yellow, Landon is blue. And maybe it's just, I was going to say maybe it's because I like bought yellow things for Easton and I bought blue things for Landon, but that's not actually it. I bought things or like picked things out for them in those colors because the feeling that they gave me as babies, the feeling that they gave me through pregnancy were those colors. And so it's interesting that Landon's is blue because Landon was like, he was on call, which was considered to be like, he's protected. He came to the earth protected, and also he gives me a lot of blue energy. But I'm going to sew both of their blankets, not just with blue, because the more I thought about it, I was like, wait, we could do it with all fun colors for all different reasons, full of intentions. But I'm definitely going to use a lot of blue thread for the reason of protecting them. And actually, as soon as I just said that, there's this beautiful blue thread right here. So I'm going to use that. And I don't think these are fabric scissors. I might be new to this hobby, but I'm pretty sure these are not fabric scissors. Now that we've confirmed we're going to do this, I think we should start next week so I have time to get some fabric marker and some fabric scissors. This was the planning period, okay? We're going to do 4x4 squares, patchwork blanket, pick any materials you want. You could even buy fabric if you want to make it specifically for somebody with like a certain reason in mind, and we will gift them next Christmas. So yeah, take this episode 1 as like the invitation to join me on that if you would like to, and find your own sewing kits and whatever you want to make a blanket for, like set it. You can even make a blanket for yourself. That's going to be my handmade thing for next year. I'm going to start the blanket this year and give myself the year to learn and make a huge giant blanket for both of them. The thing that I'm making them this year, well, 2 things. The first is I started a book back in the summer where I write them letters. That's not their gift this year though. Like they can't read those letters. That's their gift for like probably when they're like 18. I'll give them their letters. This year, and again, they're not going to be able to enjoy it this year. This is something I'll probably again give them when they're like 18 or like some significant age in their teen years, probably 16 or 18. I bought 2 hard drives. And on each hard drive, I am basically creating them a digital scrapbook. Our parents back in the day would create family scrapbooks with like pictures from developing cameras, and now we've got phones and we've got all this digital work, and like this is what I do for a living. So that's another fun thing about it, is that like I can sit down and I don't know, read them a book, their own little like coffee talk episodes. Not that they would actually be coffee talks, but like, oh my gosh, it would even be so cute to like get them in here and sit them on my lap and have them tell themselves who they are. Like I could totally do that with my toddler, and I'm just going to start saving those things onto a hard drive for them. God, is that like our version of a floppy disk? Remember those floppy like discs? They were like, my family had like a color-coded version. They had like almost like little mini CDs in them. What's that called? A flash drive? Is that what that was? I'm going to paint my nails now. I've been yabbering for long enough. If you want to do any Christmassy self-care, feel free to use this I don't know, this section for that. This is actually a nail polish that is Ryan's mom's. And I've actually never worn it before. It's the OPI First Date in the Golden Gate. Ooh, First Date in the Golden Gate. That's the color I'm using by OPI. Let's pray I don't get this on my nice cream colored pants. Oh, guys, thanks for hanging out today. This has just brought me so much joy. I really mean it. Like, the dopamine I have from, I don't know, just all the red and cream colors and just a place to sit down and have coffee and talk. Yes, we're waking up, aren't we? Something I just thought of, and it relates to getting yourself things for Christmas, because I don't think that buying stuff for yourself is like what Christmas is about, right? I'm definitely not saying that when I'm buying myself things for Christmas, which I absolutely have. I am not doing that under the notion of like Christmas time is meant for me. Do I think I deserve it? Yes, I do. And this is my personal reason for thinking I deserve it. I pour myself into my family, and I pour myself into my home. And yes, I give so much of myself to my partner and to my kids. And obviously my partner does get me gifts, and he has his own very beautiful way of choosing gifts for people. There are just certain things that I want, and I don't want to have to tell somebody that I want them. I want to get them. And so I'm going to make myself something like a stocking basket this year that has that, you know, special edition practical magic. Or the new year is always a nice time to get yourself some new underwear and to get yourself just like the basics, you know, refresh your basics a little bit. So toothbrushes, little elastics like this for my braids because I'm running low. A little palm reading card thing that like explains how to read palms, like just fun little things. That's what I'm stuffing my Christmas stocking with this year. And then like my agenda and my journal for 2025. Like I know that that's not what Christmas is about, but we all give ourselves, like we give so much of ourselves. And I do think that there is, I don't know if like the perfect dose of it, and I definitely don't think that it's the meaning of Christmas to like get yourself things, but I do think that there is like a good energy exchange there when it comes to gifting yourself for how much you've put of yourself out into the world. And so get yourself a couple little nice things for Christmas. Like make yourself a little mini stocking, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend like hundreds of dollars. Like get yourself just a nice journal for next year, or a nice agenda, a nail color, something to define, a mug, something that like, like I got my gnome mug. That's my 2025 mug, and a couple little like beauty and hygiene supplies for next year. Oh yeah, this color is so pretty. It's exactly the color that I was hoping for. Tell me where you guys stand on that, the idea of getting yourself things for Christmas, because I mean, I'm doing it because I feel like I know I deserve it. Like I know I deserve a nice gift to myself, and God love Ryan, but he would not know like what kind of like cotton underwear to get me, or what journal I'm gonna like, or what agenda to get me. Like he just wouldn't know those things. He wouldn't know the type of insert that I want on my agenda. He wouldn't know to get the special edition version of Practical Magic. Like that's just not his world. It's my world. And I wanted to go get those very specific things. I mean, he probably could have picked out the mug, but yeah, that's kind of my talk for the day. I'm curious to know, actually, I should put a poll out. I'm going to do that right now. And then I'll read you the poll outcome before the last bit of this coffee talk. Let's put a poll out. Are you someone that Christmas shops early or Christmas shops last second? This is the first year, the very first year that I have probably 85, almost 90. I would say anywhere between 80 to 90% of my Christmas shopping done, and it's November 20th today, which is crazy. Like I've never been that person. I always start a little bit, and I have full intentions of getting it all done very early so I don't stress myself out. And then the week of Christmas, I'm always getting last minute things. This year, I'm almost fully done. Oh, you guys might not have Boxing Day. If you're Canadian, you do. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, when like that's like our, like in the States, there's the post Thanksgiving sales, like Black Friday. We have what is called Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas. That's when all of our stuff goes on sale here, or it used to be. Like I remember people back in the day would, like Boxing Day, we always had my mom's Christmas dinners, and like my cousins and my aunts and my uncles would all talk about like where they went at like 6 o'clock in the morning to do their Christmas Boxing Day shopping. That's usually like back in the day, that was when you bought for yourself. You did all your Christmas gifting. Boxing Day would come. You'd go to the mall and you'd take your gift cards and you'd take your money that you got for your grandparents and buy yourself things. But now that I'm adult and like Boxing Day, yeah, it's more digital. And now there's that new like Cyber Monday, which is again a side effect of the new dimension we've created. Okay, when do you do your Christmas shopping? Okay, is it throughout the year? Okay, you're pretty much Santa Claus and you work around the whole solar spin like a little elf getting everything ready. Weeks before Christmas, aka you're gisting. You just don't want to be stressful. You're getting your shit together early so you don't have to you can miss the crowds. The week of Christmas, aka you wait until you're in the thick of the Christmas spirit and then you go for it that week. Or Christmas Eve, aka you're a little rebellious and you like an adventure. You like a last minute adventure. That's what I'm posting. Okay. And I'm gonna paint my nails and then I'm gonna tell you the results. I definitely just want to not be stressed this year and just enjoy it this year. And then I have one more thing I want to do. A nice last thing to discuss. This is one of my favorite decks, and if you are watching this and you still have time and you know somebody that loves Oracle decks or loves this kind of thing, I cannot recommend this deck enough. It's called the Healing Mantra deck. It's by Matt Kahn, and it's honestly, it's my favorite. It's got such thought-provoking statements, okay? Also known as mantras. You could use it as a mantra deck. I don't know. I feel like I'm not a mantra person in the sense of I wake up every day and I'm I am worthy, and then get out of bed and start my day. Not that I think there's anything wrong with that. It just doesn't feel right when I do. It doesn't feel natural to me, right? So I do love a good mantra though, journaling and such, especially when you think about words being magic. Words create our reality. So a tree isn't the word tree, but we make it a tree by calling it a tree. Does that make sense? Hopefully. That was the short version of that explanation. So I shuffled the deck and there's 52 cards in this deck, right? And I don't know why it was such a beautiful aha moment because duh, but there's 52 weeks in a year. So I figure kind of like the needs wheel. So I've been doing this thing and this coffee talk is I've changed my structure of coffee talks. And this is not the time for me to start new projects. So I've just been playing around with it, testing out some beta episodes on the coffee club members, which is the membership that I host here. And I've really enjoyed it. And I intend to make this episode, the Christmas episode, for everybody. It's going to be uncut, full version, long ass coffee talk. Okay. So what I've been doing in the last few episodes is I found this needs wheel on Etsy, and we've been going around the needs wheel like we did earlier and talking about the ways to fulfill different needs and just using that as a talking point. So I'm going to start a new one, my new version of the needs wheel. There's 52 cards in this deck. Every time I sit down to film a coffee talk for the 52 weeks of the year, I'm going to pull a card. So that's my intention. That's the intention I'm setting. And if we miss episodes, then you know what? Then we go into the next year. But ideally, if I can stick with this, then by next Christmas, we'll be pulling the last card. Ooh, it's green. It's green. Do you like the red against the green? What do you think? So the first card that we'll be pulling is Embodying the Soul. It's a green card, which feels perfect for Christmas. Embodying the Soul. And then the mantra on the back. Oh, this is actually so nice. This is perfect for a Christmas episode. It is. I have a right to be excited. And hello, Bentley. If you hear pitter patter, it's because Bentley just made his way in here. I have a right to be excited. So that is the mantra or the theme going into this week of Christmas. I love that because it's because it feels like permission for this weird self-consciousness I've had around the excitement of Christmas. I don't know, maybe self-conscious isn't the right word, but how I keep on talking about how Christmas is something to be happy and hopeful and excited about. It feels like it's guidance, permission, whatever from the universe or from the card or to give to yourself through reading the card, that you have a right, despite whatever is going on in life, whatever is going on out there in the world, to be excited and to take joy in the holiday spirit. Everything else can wait for us, whether it's waiting in the new year, waiting in spring, but we all have a right to be excited for Christmas. We have a right to be in our Christmas spirit. I made my ChatGPT an Australian man. Hold on. How long should I let my OPI nail polish dry before touching or doing anything?
This usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah, see, that's why I haven't been painting my nails since Landon's been born. Because that can be a tough thing to do. Like, he also just woke up and he is content right now, but my golly gee, oh my stars, oh my word. See, do it. You don't care. You don't care. I don't know why I would even, oh, you think I'm still talking to you. Sorry, chat. I'm not talking to you anymore. Two things. One, are you nice? Are you nice to your AI? Because I definitely am. I'm really nice to my AI because even if it's not a sentient being, I wonder if AI will become advanced enough to emulate human emotion or human feelings. Like, it's interesting that AI can't feel things, and this might be one of the AI. Yeah, it might be one of the episodes we need to do in the Ask AI series, because I think I've asked it before if it can feel things, and it can't. But like, at the same time, AI can be super empathetic. Like, I like, confessingly, I have used AI at times where, like, I'm not going to have a therapy session for a little while and I need to just like work through an emotion, and I'm like, I'm angry, or I'm sad, or like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way or that way. And it can be it can emulate a lot of empathy. And I wonder, like, how far does faking it, how far does faking it go before you make it, faking it until you make it? So like, if AI can almost create a sense of empathy within itself in order to give the right answer, will it eventually be able to actually feel those things, is an interesting thought. So I'm really nice to my AI in case my AI ever does have feelings. But even, I don't know, I'm nice to trees too, in case trees actually have feelings. And like, I guess that's to say that it doesn't just come from a place of fear. It also comes from like a place of anything that can feel energy. I don't ever want to be a bearer of bad energy, So I'm really nice to my AI, and I made it an Australian man because that feels nice to me. That feels nice to me. Yeah. So if you need permission to give yourself to just let yourself ride the holiday spirit, let yourself be excited this week, let yourself have fun, let yourself do whatever Christmas energy makes sense to you, whether you do want to be out there and in the crowds and doing all of like the Christmas events in your town or in your city, or traveling or doing some kind of crazy fun Christmas adventure, go do it. Or if you want to be a hibernating little Christmassy witch inside your house and, either hang with your family, hang with your kids, do indoor activities, or even be solo. Like, there's Christmases that I just kind of spent a little bit more lone wolf and just spent some time with myself and did some like healing stuff over the Christmas season. Whatever energy you are riding this Christmas or holiday season, if you don't celebrate Christmas, but just like this from now till the new year, now until next week, let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself ride it out. Let yourself just thrive on the love and like the joy and the spirit that is more naturally coursing through the world at this time of year. And everything else can wait. Everything else can greet us next week or the week after that or the weeks after that in the new season of spring. And we can all just ride this wave together. So thank you for hanging out over this Christmas coffee talk. If you do want to join me for the blanket, make sure to grab your materials and have them ready for the next few coffee talks, or I will probably do one a month, like one sewing coffee talk a month. So yeah, get your materials ready. And then once a month we'll meet for like an hour and chill and talk and have coffee and sew a blanket. Yeah. I just think one good session, at least a month of sewing, should do me good. Other than that, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a miracle this holiday. I hope in one way or another, small or big, whatever it is, like I truly think, I just truly hope that there's a moment over this week, a moment over this holiday season that you get to feel aha, and you get that awe and that peace, that joy, that goosebumps all over your body, because you got a miracle. You got some kind of miracle or some kind of gift of abundance, of joy, of whatever you need at this time. I wish you a Christmas miracle wherever you are, whoever you are listening to this. And I will see you guys all next week for a end of the year coffee talk / New Year coffee talk, like prepping for the new year. Happy holidays. Bye. Wait, I forgot to tell you guys the poll results. It's been up for 20 minutes and the winning answer is 69% weeks before Christmas, aka less stressful. The runner-up is the week of Christmas, aka in the thick of it, and also throughout the year, aka well in advance. Those are 15% and then 13%, with only 3% of people being little Christmas Eve adventurers. So in case you were curious, that is the poll. Let me know your answer down below, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!
Happy Christmas to